Hey, how's it going? My name is James P. White. That is Chris Mooney. This is the Bald and Short of It podcast. And I'm going to do that every time starting this podcast because every time I do, I think I've even done it on my radio shows when I did my solo. I always started with, hey, how's it going? Why not? It's high energy. I love what we're doing. And this is the Bald and Short of It podcast. And if you are watching it on YouTube, which you probably are, you did see our theme, which I can't get that song out of my head. As
It's
soon
so
as I
awesome.
hear it once, circling the toilet bowl, loathing and hatred.
I
Yeah,
listen to it at least once a day, and not
uh,
out of vanity because it's so catchy.
but it's a fun way to wake up, is it, or like to start your day with a catchy tune like that just brings such joy to the world. Um,
like
especially
we do.
Yes, like we do. We bring joy to our neighbors, to each other, to our local establishments. And
Yep.
yes, this is the Bald and Short of It podcast, circling the toilet bowl of loathing and hatred,
Purveyors
and
of joy, circling the
purveyors of
toilet bowl,
joy.
circling the toilet bowl of loving nature.
And what are you drinking, big guy?
I am. It's Jack.
Oh,
It's always
you got the old faithful Jack,
return of the Jack.
and I'm drinking. I've got a 8 pack of the Sea Change.
Mm.
Like, so
Looks
it's a
like you
mix.
got a wolf there right now, eh?
Yeah, this is the wolf.
What are
These
the what are the beers in it? It's not 8 separate ones. It's like 2 each, right?
Yeah, it's two each. So it's the wolf, it's Prairie Fairy,
Yeah.
um, Man Crush, and Death Wave.
So Prairie Fairy and Man Crush can both be called Jimmy. I have a story about Man Crush. Josh at Sherbrooke. That's Janet's son.
Yeah.
He works there time to time behind the bar, and I used to drink Man Crush. They used to have it on their tap, so I drink Man Crush a lot.
Okay.
And every time Josh was behind the tap, I'd say, "Can I get a Josh?" It was our little inside joke.
You know what's the funny thing about the Man Crush though is, just after Joey Moss passed away, he was a huge fan of Man Crush and like
Yeah,
and Orange. So they actually, for a while there, they had his face
yeah. I saw the
on,
Joey can.
yeah, on the cans, and
That
that's
was
really
cool.
cool that a local place would do that for. And the Joey Moss was a legend. Like
Oh yeah,
he's
big time.
was known by everybody. He's loved by the Oilers. He was the biggest Oiler fan there was, and yeah, it was a loss to the organization. A lot of the Oilers were really upset by it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even like players, every 10 years or so, you have a different, hockey. Obviously, the players come in and out of the team throughout the years. Every year, there's turnover, but your course sort of stays the same.
Yeah,
And it's like, so that may shift every 10 years or so, but every different generation of Oiler player, like from like Doug Waite to Sam Gagne to like Bucky to Kevin Lowe, all those
of
guys.
course, Gretzky.
Gretzky, who brought
Yeah,
him into the locker room, but they
yeah,
all could never say enough about the guy. And like we know him on the surface, like in the community, and the kid that sang the anthems and all that stuff. But the guys that were in the room with them and that hung out with them on a daily basis, like could never say enough about him. And that's really cool. And he worked for the Eskimos too in the summer, so he was working year round.
yeah, and that's really cool.
Yeah,
And
100%.
and so that's what we're drinking. And let's go into our week. You
Sure. I don't want to bore people with the comings and goings of Chris Mooney, but it's beautiful out. It's playoff hockey time. First game last night. It's playoff weather now. Like if you're an Oiler fan, you remember years and years and years of not being in the playoffs. Um, And then and now it's like as soon as the snow melts, you call it playoff weather. You expect it. It just becomes part of the thing. And then it always gets me going for spring.
Yeah, and this is beautiful weather for going out, watching the game, even going to Rogers Place and, to the fan experience, in
Yep.
nice district there, all the stuff going on. It's so high energy there. And actually, speaking of that, since we're actually talking about Rogers, since we kind of brought it up, the hockey weather, that area around Rogers Place, they're actually for the entire playoffs. They're closing that down during playoff home games. Around what did I say? Around 103rd Avenue there and Rogers Place. So
Yeah.
there's going to be no through traffic at all because of the huge traffic going in and out of Rogers Place and the fan areas and stuff like that.
Do you know why they do that?
So people don't die from
Oh
getting
wow,
run
I didn't.
over
I
by
just
cars.
well, partly, yeah, obviously, but I mean, regular season. I mean, it's the same amount of people that leave the building and all that. But um, if you walk like alongside Rogers Place, I guess you'd call it the north side of the building there, like the street side. By where they have the Gretzky statue, they have that
Yeah,
that alumni room or that Oiler room, and that's where they do the press conferences. And so fans crowd around it. I mean, and they might even pipe in the volume on it. I don't know, but you could always hear people. And I remember like the last couple of years during the playoffs, like they're interviewing the coach, and there's like hundreds of fans outside against the glass watching and chanting. Like it's pretty
yeah,
cool. So yeah, they probably want to obviously add a little a little forgiveness there so nobody does get clipped.
yeah. So it's around 104th Avenue near Rogers Place, and it's going to be closed from the third period until 1 hour after
Yeah, it's
every.
basically the length of the building plus one block because I think it was 105th Street. Because like 104th Street's where the Druid is, and that's the end of Rogers, and then it's another block. What I'm curious about that though is like taxis. So how are they going to
Yeah,
manage that?
because the thing is sometimes, like even during some of those events, they have cordoned off areas like over by like where the Boston Pizza is.
Yep,
That where they'd probably just tell you, okay, if you're going for a taxi, go over there.
they might keep the taxis though. They just close it to regular traffic because the taxis usually line up on the edge of 104th Street on I guess you call it the northwest corner or the southwest west corner of that.
Oh
They'll
yeah,
prob- they'll probably still be there. You grab a cab and it'll go right on 104th or something.
but don't quote us on that because we
No,
don't
I'm
know
just
for
guessing.
sure.
Yeah.
We're just making the assumption. But yes, so yeah, that whole area is going to be cordoned off,
You
and
were talking about the fan park, and like if you're not from Edmonton, and if you are, like like there's so much shit going on when the game's happening, like outside, like they have the fan park, they have the ice district area there where they have the skating rink, and everyone just they always show it on TV, but something I heard uh, on the like when I was reading up about like the playoff experience in Edmonton uh, was that like you get free access to that fan park or to the um, ice district, kind of the moss pit they call it, right?
yeah.
With your loyalty rewards. So I'm like, what? There's a loyalty rewards thing. Like I didn't sign up for anything, and then like we're just while we were talking about it, and then I'm pulling it up on my phone, and it looks like I did. Um,
So
like
you signed up for something that you don't even know what you signed up for.
no,
Must be
I'm
and
on. I subscribe to Oilers Plus, that streaming thing, because I like to watch
oh
all the post game like press conferences and all that shit. And
oh yeah, you're that nerd. Yeah.
I don't even watch their little show. Like they have an oil drop show. They drop like once a month or something. I don't know. And they have little features sometimes about players, interviews with Bob Stauffer and stuff. And I don't really pay attention to any of that. But what I use it for is like the post game interviews, like the commentary and stuff like that. But now that I know I have this, I just noticed It says I have 600 points. I don't know how I earned them. And the other thing
Could
though
it be
that
from going to games and scanning,
well, no, that's the thing. It pisses me off because I think I said a couple weeks ago I went to a game with Kieran and like we had not for nothing, but we had ourselves a few beers, right? And
really? That doesn't seem like you.
and by the way, like a beer for him and a beer or wine for me is like $45 with tip. Like it's nuts. But I just looking at this now that I'm a realize I've self-subscribed or auto-subscribed to loyalty rewards. It says earn points for in-arena purchases. Scan your QR code to earn 5 points per $1 spent at concessions and retail locations. Like, think about that for a minute. 5 points for $1 spent. And I'm telling
And
you, like
and you
two beers are like $40, and
yes.
then the five. So I'm not even counting the tip. So every time I got beer at that game, what is it? 40 times five. So I'd be getting 200 points for every time I got a beer, like a couple beers. And it says here I got 600 points.
Yeah, you would have
Like, oh, thanks.
you would have tripled that just just from the beer.
Like, man, I'm stupid. Uh, or I didn't even know I was signed up to this thing. But and the other thing is I'm not going to that moss pit. I'm not going to the fan park. I hate being around crowds and all that shit.
I
So,
hate that stuff too. It's really cool to see it, but to be in it, and
well, you're
you
at
know,
ass level too. So it's like how many?
ass, elbows, and purses
Yeah.
bounce off
Oh
my
God.
forehead on an hourly basis.
Balls too.
Yeah, I get the odd dick in the face.
No bounce off your forehead. Oh no, that's your chin.
I get the odd dick in the face, and then they look at me like I did something wrong. It was you stuck your dick in my face, like
Yeah,
I didn't like
I think they
I
both parties enjoyed it equally though.
yeah. Speak for yourself. Um, but yes,
But
so
anyway, as far as points go, um, and like there's rewards for everything, eh? Like I just linked my petrol points to my WestJet rewards. And WestJet rewards used to be really good. Like I used my credit card all the time for business and all of a sudden, like in a few months you got a free flight or you could pay mostly with your rewards. Did that a lot. That was a pretty good one, but then they changed it all up. A shitty one is Aeroplan, like 70,000, and you want to book a flight with Aeroplan to like Vegas. It's never direct. You got to fly to Vancouver and then LA and then they put you on all the shitty flights. Like I
yeah, where
use
you're flying to Toronto and then to yeah.
yeah, I used my Aeroplan to go to Newfoundland once and it was Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, Halifax, Newfoundland. I'm like, hey, it's free, but it cost me like 6 hours and four airports. Anyway, I know I'm getting. I don't want to beat that horse dead, but the today's points that I have and that I actually use that are actually pretty good. The one I'll just talk about one, like the Canadian Brew House, that Brew House app.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you get lots of free shit from that. Like
Oh yeah.
I think I'm up to like $30, and it's like I go there anyway. John, a friend of the podcast, Johnny, and I watch UFC
Uh,
there.
yes, and you get points for everything you spend. They give you rewards there's different deals every month,
Yeah,
and
free
and
appetizers time to time.
and
Um,
and then also if your birthday is in there, you get it like a huge
like you see
nacho.
this, like you just scan the receipt. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
it's like a barcode. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like a barcode scanner.
yeah, and so every time you buy something, like you scan it and you're good to go. Um, I think what do I have right now? I have like $30 just waiting for me. That's like what around
Uh,
when you and I go.
when you and I go, yeah, we had a few rounds yesterday.
Mm. Watching the playoffs.
Yes,
First playoff game of the year. Waiting 10 months for it since last June.
yeah, since they yeah.
You want to talk about that? Like, I know we're
Let's
talking about our week. I mean,
let,
uh,
let's talk about. We might as well get into the sports since
uh,
we're already talking about Rogers and the Oilers and
yeah. So my week, what we hung out a bit last week, didn't we? Yeah, we
uh
hung out Friday.
Julian's.
Julian's on Friday. That's
Yeah,
just a regular thing. Like we don't even have to tell it each other.
yeah,
We see
that's
it there.
usually something that we do on
And yeah,
Fridays.
hi to the lovely Lisa, our friendly bartender there, and we got a nice taste of Dennis again on the
Yeah,
keys, tickling the ivory. And did we hang out on Thursday too?
don't think. No, I didn't. Yeah, because I was. You wanted me to, and I had gut rot.
Oh, what was I? Oh, what was I doing? I don't even remember.
I don't know. You invited me somewhere.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So that, and then the weekend we had. I think I took Saturday off because kind of got after it a little bit on the Friday. Not gonna lie to you. And then Sunday, yeah, uh, and then the game was Monday, and that was awesome. So we went to the Old Faithful Sherbrooke. By the way, anybody listening, if you want to catch a game there, Janet's raffling, or Janet's got draws for like 4 jerseys, a jacket. We got towels, hand towels last night. Good atmosphere to watch the game. Lots of loyal Oiler fans. Um, but yeah, it was a good game. Speaking of sports, right? The the Oilers won 4-2, and they looked good doing it. Was it 4-2 or 4-3? Anyway, uh, they looked like ass in the second period, but it's nice when you can make those mistakes and not have it cost you a playoff game, and so you learn what you
Yeah,
need to
because
do.
they were up 2-0, and
Two
then
nothing, and the first was maybe the best period I've seen to play all year. Like just so much energy, just guys first to the puck, dumping it in, like getting in there, hemming them in on the forecheck. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty. And then they scored a goal that got disallowed because of goaltender interference. That might have changed things. Um, but yeah, we came out in the third just flat as a pancake, and then or in the second, and then the third we sort of played about 10 minutes of good hockey. But you live and learn, and these are pros, so they'll take those lessons and hopefully apply them on Wednesday.
yeah, it was 4-3.
Yeah, three. There you go. So good hockey game overall, and it makes me optimistic about us in the playoffs. It was the first time all the players who were on the ice played together all year because of injuries and trade deadline and all that stuff. So, and they looked relatively good doing it. They played about 66. No, I'm going to say they played about 60% good hockey, 40% kind of shite, but came out with a W anyway. Looking forward to Wednesday. Playoffs, baby. Just got to love it. Got to love it.
Yeah, it's a good atmosphere. And we change it up once in a while. Like we a lot of the time we do go to Sherbrooke. We love Sherbrooke down there, Janet, and I like going there because of Sherbrooke the liquor next door because they have every alcohol there is known to man. Like
Yeah.
anything craft, like craft beer, craft like liquors, any that they have everything.
Whenever we go there, that's the funniest thing. Like for those of you listening, like
I
when we
go there
go
with
there,
it.
the plan isn't going like we're going to Sherbrooke and then we're going for a nice stroll around Horlack, or we're going to somewhere else. It's we're going to Sherbrooke. We're basically getting after it, and then we're going home. And every time we go to Sherbrooke, Jimmy's got his trusty backpack.
And I
Like, what,
fill it
what, do
up
you,
with
what do you? Did you bring a change of clothes? Like, what's going on? Like
and I fill it up with alcohol from Sherbrooke
next door,
liquor. Yeah,
that is a great liquor store.
they have everything because
Yeah.
they like, and they have like my favorites like the Bridgeland,
Oh,
the
that Tabor whiskey.
the Tabor corn whiskey and Tabor
Yeah.
corn bourbon, and we won't get into that and until I'm drinking it. But we were talking about the differences between whiskeys and bourbons, but we'll do that when I'm actually drinking it.
Yeah,
Um,
I can explain it to you.
yeah, and I did some reading. It's also the way that they store it, like the barrels that they use.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, another rule for bourbon is it's got to be done in Kentucky, which is kind of stupid.
Only Kentucky bourbon. You can still have
Oh,
other it's Kentucky bourbon is a type of
gotcha.
bourbon.
So
It's
because I
different
had
it's different than, like, the bourbon that you, because I actually looked that up.
yeah,
Kentucky bourbon has to be done in Kentucky, but
I had me some nice bourbon quite a while ago that was distilled in Colorado of all places, but it tasted like bourbon. Maybe it had a little finer edge to it, but um, yeah, and that's why too. Like Jack, even though some mistakenly characterize it as bourbon, it's actually Tennessee whiskey, which does have a difference taste wise.
yeah.
But
But
anyway,
we'll get into that
yeah, we'll talk. Maybe we'll
in a
do
later
a
date.
tutorial
On
next
on
episode.
we'll do an episode of what are you drinking. All we're gonna do is talk about alcohol the whole show.
Like,
That's
and stick around because the end will
stick
be hilarious.
stick around. It'll be here because not only are we gonna be talking about it,
We'll
we're
be
gonna be
testing.
drinking it. So we're gonna have like 6 different kinds of bourbons and whiskeys, and we're gonna be sitting there sipping and drinking, and then we're gonna be forget what the heck we're talking about,
That's
and
actually a
I'm
great idea. We
doing a
should
whole.
totally do. We should do like a bourbon testing. We're doing that. I'll curate and we'll try like maybe 5 different kinds and we'll rate them.
But what would be really good is if we can get involved in a bourbon, like a professional, like, held by a professional. Like, sometimes at Sherbrooke Liquor, they do have tastings and stuff in there,
Yeah,
and like where you go in, and then we film it while we're doing it, and
that would be cool.
that would be a cool thing, and because
Like
they explain the types of bourbons and whiskeys and whatever it is you're drinking.
I love me my bourbons and my like American whiskey. It's just peerless. I mean, I like Irish too. But yeah, that's not a bad idea to try.
I love that stuff too, but I can't drink it like you do. Like you can sit and just drink it all day, and I'm a puddle. So like I
No,
usually have one or two, and then I switch to the beer, and I'm less puddle like.
I can't do it all day. Like we go out a lot, and you don't see me drinking bourbon too much because
No, but
we talked about that. The life cycle of your drunk shrinks by 75% if you're crushing like whiskey the way that we
yeah,
crush beers or whatever, right?
but that's why your wife, she always says, "Oh, when he sits and drinks bourbon for your entire podcast for 2.5 hours, you guys are just drinking, and he's just a blathering drunk when I get home."
Oh, she doesn't say that, and then I'm not.
Which I
Like
should no, I'm
this is
I'm
our
I'm
this is our
I'm
first. This is our
exaggerating.
yeah. You're exaggerating a lot, Jimmy. This is our 43rd episode, and the proof is in the pudding. You can go check out the last 10 minutes of all of them, and I'm not going to say that I'm as square as I was when I started, but I'm not blathering idiot either. Not for
Oh,
nothing.
I was a couple of podcasts ago. I was. I was
You're
I
on the Jimmy Creek.
I I
You're
was when I was on the Jimmy Creek. There was one part I had to re-listen to this one part towards the end of the podcast. I was trying to figure out what the hell I said, and you just kind of looked at me but didn't respond. And when I was editing, I was like, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
you were
Um,
you were up Jimmy Creek without a paddle.
with more Jimmy Creek.
Yeah,
Uh,
taking it in, head bobbing up and down.
okay, so we covered the sports, we covered some different alcohols. Why don't you finish up your week, because I know because you missed talking about something that I saw on here. You were doing you
Oh
getting
yeah,
names and
yeah. Like it's no secret to anyone listening that I'm a supporter of Alberta independence, and I've volunteered my time to canvass and get signatures. Um, I've got close to 200 myself, which I'm fairly proud of. But most of it's been like of that 200, I'd say maybe 40, 35, 40 are like family and friends. But um, the bulk of that number was done by doing those pop ups, like different parts of the city on the weekend or whatever. You put up the flags and people stop in and sign. Met some really nice people doing it too. But this past weekend, there was a little bit of what are the Brits call it? Harassment. I was harassed.
You were harassed.
I was harassed. Um, so when you do this, excuse me, you put those little sandwich board things like it's not that big, um, like you see on a new listing in real estate that they just stick in the ground with the little metal things. And it says new listing or open house. The exact same thing as that. It just says Alberta Independence signatures
A
here or
peg sign.
whatever. Yeah, it's really small and like
So
really
it's not a
flimsy.
sandwich board; it's a peg sign.
Yeah, it's not a sandwich board. It's just like Corex, and it's about I don't know 2 feet by 1 foot, and you just
And it's
you
got
know
pegs on it.
yeah, like really really thin like metal things you just put in the ground, right? And
Okay,
totally
ladies and
temporary.
gentlemen, what he's talking about is a peg sign. So
Okay, what I don't even I've never heard that.
the same kind of signs like where that you have when someone's running for political office and it's sitting in a lawn sign, basically is what it
Yeah,
is.
it's smaller than that. Like it's like you see on the
Oh, yeah.
corners a lot of streets, like new listing or open house or.
Okay, we're
Anyway, yeah, I don't want to bore everybody, but we have one. I set up at the old Petroleum Club location there on 111th and 109th Street, and I got this thing in the ground. It's about 50 feet from the intersection, maybe a little closer, but I'm away from the intersection so that people can pull in to that little parking lot and sign. And I'm not. I put that little sign in the ground, set up my table. I'm not there 10 minutes, and a peace officer comes and
So
says,
is it a police officer or a peace officer?
"No, you see those peace officers? They
Yeah,
drive
yeah,
around. Yeah, the
but
car
they
says
they
peace officer.
mostly deal with transit. Okay, but yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
well, I don't know,
actually
man. Like,
police
but
officers. But yeah,
but this
peace
this
officer.
young
Yeah.
young lady peace officer, she like I said, that sign's not in the ground 10 minutes, and she comes up. Here I am thinking I got somebody's sign or whatever, and she goes, "We've had a complaint. We've had complaints or a complaint that sign. You've got to move it." And I said, "Oh, that thing? I can move it right now. Like, what's wrong?" Like, and I'm totally polite. Like in that capacity, I always make sure that I'm like friendly, polite. Even the people that drive by and call you a traitor or an asshole or a loser, I always just smile and wave. Like
That's usually me in an Uber.
and by the way, I'd say on average every hour in that location at least when people drive by, every hour I would say we get at least 20 horn honks and no more than a couple people driving by going loser, like anyway, so I said no problem, I could move that. And I said just out of curiosity, what's wrong with it? And I said, oh, you got a complaint? I mean, this thing hasn't been in the ground for 10 minutes. And she goes, no, yesterday. And I wasn't there yesterday, but I'm like, oh, okay, fine. She didn't like us being there. I can tell that plain as day. So you know what? I moved it like 5 feet. No big deal, right? And then I asked her, um, I'm real estate's my career. I've been doing real estate. I've got about 10 of those in my garage that I put up for open houses and new listings. Um, and I said, I even said to her, I'm not being belligerent. I'm just curious because I've never had a problem doing that. And she said, well, realtors usually get a pass because we know that they're going to take it out at the end of the day. And I'm like, I didn't even say anything. What I really wanted to say was, what, you think I'm going to fucking leave it there, sign here, and nobody's there? Of course it's coming out of like, it was just, that was a tell, right? So guess what she does? She parks behind my truck, which is behind my table, and stays there for like an hour. And that hour, no signatures. Nobody came by. There's a peace officer there. Some people are shy.
In the car. Oh yeah.
Yeah, some people are shy about it. Like they don't want people to know, or
They
they're
don't want to
afraid
be
of.
judged.
Yeah, because I mean, I read somewhere that a canvasser like me was at a location and a guy burned him with a cigarette butt, and there's people that have lowered themselves to assault, and these are just freedom loving Albertans that want to exercise democratic right. And I haven't met a single person in I guess you call it the movement that's been a dick or mean, or they're just good, honest, decent, hardworking people.
The thing is, though, is whether people agree with you or not agree with you, that's not the point. The point is whether whether you are pro separation or not, you as an individual in this country, in this province, in this city, have the right to express your opinion, and rightfully so. You have the right under our constitution.
Yeah,
You can do what you want.
and I
It's voicing your own opinion. Whether I agree with you or not, you still have the right to do it.
it's immaterial. Like, and I think that we have a responsibility as freedom loving people to respect that right, whether you agree with the person or not. And honestly, I see that boundlessly from all the people I've met in the movement. And I've been very disappointed, or just not who am I? Oh, I'm disappointed, disheartened by the behavior of some people that are against it. No ideas, no counterpoints. I'd love to talk about it with anybody and prove me wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe you convince me I'm wrong. But I'm going to respect your opinion, hear you out, and so forth, right? But I'm digressing. But anyway, this this peace officer um, was parked behind my truck for an hour. I was there 3 hours. She was parked behind my truck for an hour. That whole hour, I didn't get a single signature. Then she got bored or something and drove away. Maybe there was peace. Uh, there's peace being disrupted somewhere else. Like I don't know,
The
but
thing is peace officers, they are supposed to, like, they're at least a large part of their job is transit safety.
yeah,
So making sure that bus stops are safe, buses are safe, LRT stations are safe. So why are they harassing you? And then they go, well, our buses are unsafe. Well, I wonder why.
well, because
Um,
they're parked behind independence canvassers, like dissuading
like,
people from coming to sign. I'm
but
telling you,
there's always that one bad apple though. Like it's not like
yeah, like
I know a lot of peace officers that work in the transit system that are freaking amazing. They're great people.
oh, I'm
They
sure.
give
I
they
would I
give
would
to
I would contend
society.
that
They do food drives. They do all this different stuff. They help the homeless.
I'll bet you any money it's more than less. Like I think there's always those little Napoleon assholes that like to swing their dick and whatever, um, and like they like having the power and whatever. But I would contend or agree with you and say that the vast majority are probably just like people that want to help and assist people and contribute to a better society, right?
Yeah,
But
it's like, but for her to sit there for an hour, just because she doesn't agree with what you're doing, because you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, you're on a public thoroughfare. You're where like
I'm not
you're,
even. I'm on private property. Like my truck was parked on private property.
but you're doing nothing. You're not. Yeah,
My
it
truck
makes no sense to me.
My truck was on private property. My table was on private property with the flag over it. And the only thing on public property was my sign. And the only rule was it's got to be 50 feet from an intersection, which it was. So I am like completely, there's nothing to see here, peace officer. And, and to conclude my point though, is uh, I, the hour that she was there, I got no signatures.
Yeah,
The next hour, I got 9. And the hour after that, I got 10. So don't tell me that she wasn't there for a reason. And it was just disheartening. It's like, hey, and by the way, the whole time she was talking to me, I was like as nice as I could be, and not argumentative, nothing. And
the
I could have
the
been, but I wasn't.
the thing is though is, as an individual like that, they don't. I don't believe they have the right to intimidate people that are doing stuff like that, and that's what that was meant to do. Maybe it wasn't intimidating you, but it was intimidating people from coming to you.
Yeah,
It-
because a lot of it is that where, um, I've had people come up to sign and say like, oh yeah, they had a thing over at over here, over there, and I didn't want anyone to know I did it or whatever. And I mean, it's shameful that people are afraid of that stuff. And actually,
People are afraid of being judged because there's
or like,
a lot of really judgy people when it comes to the politics end of things. Have it be the LGBTQ elemental,
yeah, yeah. But
that,
there's always there's
but whether it's that, whether it's religion, whether it's your political beliefs, whether or not you think that Alberta should separate, whether or not we should kick Quebec out of Canada, which I still think is a thing. Um, we should kick those fuckers out. But
it's a thing here. It's a
that's
thing in my
the
it would save Alberta about 20 billion a year.
the thing is we have the right to say it, and we should not. No one should be intimidated for because of what they believe.
Well, I think that I think that productive society or an effective society is composed of people with varying opinions on varying topics, and like on countless topics, and that nobody's afraid to express themselves, and through dialogue they arrive at conclusions that ultimately better society. Not everyone wins those dialogue, or I don't. I hate using the word win when we talk about dialogue, but not everyone convinces people when they have that dialogue, but at the very least they put those ideas out there in the marketplace, and the best ones get adopted. But when people are intimidated or afraid to express themselves, then you have a real problem, because society no longer is as effective, and it becomes like very much like a police state. And that's something that should worry all of us, because um, uh, if somebody comes after, if you come after me today, who's to say somebody else isn't going to come after you tomorrow? And it's just a draconian, scary way to operate. And again, like, that's why, like I said, you got the cop behind you or the peace officer behind you. Nobody comes in the following 2 hours. She's not there. 20 people come. 19 people come. And I hate that we've, as a society, um, descended to those depths.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. That
I have a quick story, if you don't mind,
okay.
that this reminds me of. Years ago, I was in New Orleans, and my hotel was actually on Bourbon Street, but I was there for a conference. I stayed maybe an extra 5 days after or before, I can't remember. It was fun, but where I was on Bourbon, I was on Bourbon Street, and where our conference was by, like, it's only a few blocks down the road. I think it was Canal Street, um, where they have their convention center and their casino and stuff. So it was a walk every day, not a big deal. It was kind of nice, and I do that walk every day. And this one day, I was taking my walk down there, and there were cops blocking an intersection. And we, like, even though the walk light was on, the cops held us back. And I'm like, I don't like that, man. Like, I'm pissed off. I'm like, hey, what? I can't walk. And at first, I'm pissed off, and then so what happened was, across the street, across that intersection that I was trying to cross, was a hotel, and inside that hotel, the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. was staying for some purpose. Maybe he was meeting the governor or the mayor. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I didn't really care. But and if in Canal Street, you have traffic going one way, traffic going the other way, and in the middle there's kind of like the streetcar and a bunch of grass. It's about 30 feet of grass or whatever, right? Like, it's not an insignificant chunk of grass, like in the median in between, right? And there were neo Nazis there, like, kind of like, have you ever seen the Blues Brothers? It was like that. Like, they were literal Nazis. They were
Like
professing.
skinheads.
Oh yeah, big time, man. And they were like professing their hatred of Jews, like, openly, publicly, unapologetically. And at first, I was kind of pissed off. Like, well, I was pissed off because I couldn't get to where I was going. But then I was like, there wasn't anybody that wasn't in that group that agreed with them or clapped or whatever. It was just a bunch of idiots showing
Yeah,
the world that they were idiots.
that they
And
hate.
yeah, and like, my like, sourness because the cop was stopping us turned into kind of like, wow, this is really cool. Like they were filthy, dirty people that were saying really shitty things that I don't agree with. That's just my opinion. But their right to do that was being protected. And so like I went from being kind of pissed off that I was inconvenienced to like respectful that even the police respected their right to say what was on their mind, um, even though it disrupted things, because the inalienable right to freedom of expression was being respected. And again, like
Some
I,
of
I
that I don't know, but some of that I don't agree with.
oh, I don't agree with
I
anything those guys said.
I don't agree that that your right to expression uh, gives you the right to express hate, like
But if
expressing
you're
hate. But it's no, that's hate towards other people. I don't agree. Like hundred
okay, well then who
percent, I
decides
don't.
what's hateful?
Why are they protesting him? Because he's Jewish.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
and you know what? Honestly, Jimmy, I'm telling you, they look like idiots. Every single person that drove by thought they were idiots. Every single person that was being held back so that the Israeli ambassador's limo could come and go from the hotel or whatever they were doing, um, thought they were idiots. Like there was nobody, there was literally nobody there that supported them except each other. And the thing is,
yeah.
hear me out,
No.
okay?
I'm listening.
Like you're showing us who you are and what you believe, and you're not gaining any currency in the marketplace of ideas. And that's why I love that term marketplace of ideas, because it's like it's the same thing as the economy products. If you come out with like a car that has square wheels, you're not selling a single fucking one because society deems it useless and unworthy. The same applies to ideas and expression. If some fringe guy or like even these pro-Palestinian meatballs want to go out and talk about that shit, let them. Let them show you, let them show us how stupid their their platform is, okay? And without that, they just hide in the background and maybe who knows, but um that you know, I got liked by Adam Duritz on the Counting Crows on X once by saying like, I love freedom of speech because it's the best way for us to know who the idiots are.
That is a brilliant yes.
And Adam Duritz from Counting Crows liked it. Like we didn't become friends. Like I don't think we would have been friends anyway. Like it seems a little bit neurotic, and he's like maybe he's not my cup of tea as far as lead singers go. There's other guys I'd like to be friends with and get to know
He
better.
seems to be a little judgy.
Anyway, that's my story.
You and you're too good for
Tap rooms.
for tap rooms. You're too good for singer. There's much better singers out there, but he's okay.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, that incisive summary of Voltaire concludes my week, which is nuts. That's what I love about talking to you, buddy. Like we go off.
It is funny,
We
we
have heard
also
nothing about your week.
but in your defense, we also went into sports because it was kind of linked.
Oh yeah, like
But
I'm nothing if not efficient.
so my week has had ups and downs and a lot of weird turns.
Probably more downs, eh, buddy?
There's you're just getting geared up to go watch the midget in the week, aren't you? Like you're making all these short jokes. I just hope you say one of these horrible short jokes to him if you ever meet him, and then he punches you right in the nuts.
I think that in the marketplace of ideas, I might have the best kiosk.
Just saying. Yeah. So the little person we're talking about is Brad Williams. He's actually at the River Cree, April 30th, and on
And
the
we're
most
seeing
part,
him in 9 days, right?
yes, that's so a week from Thursday. And so, but you know, funny thing is, I he's a funny dude, but I watch him and he wears a lot of like tailored clothes. Like
Yeah,
he
right.
wears he has everything trimmed. I don't. I like my stuff baggy and long. And the big difference is you can tell with him is is the pants
Yeah.
because I wear a lot of cargo shorts that fit as pants or my pants. Like I have some hemmed clothes, but most of mine are cargo shorts. And this is around the time of year that I can go to Walmart and there's only certain brands that actually fit that where the legs long enough and it doesn't look too weird.
So just hang on a minute, if you don't mind, Jimmy.
Okay.
Um, Couple things. Brad Williams just came out with a new special. It's on YouTube. Um, he gained prominence in Vegas. I think he was the opening act for Mad Apple at New York, New York, and they wanted to re-sign him, but so many people loved him because he's really good. He's a really good stand-up comic. He's fucking funny.
He's very funny.
Yeah, and they didn't like he and his manager didn't renew, and he just went on the road. But he came out with a special 2 or 3 years ago, maybe called Starfish, and
Yeah,
and
you've
it's
talked about it a couple of times every time we
yeah.
bring him up.
So he just came out with a new one. Came out last week, and I think I made a mistake by watching it because I think that's the material he's going to do when we go see him at the
He
Cream.
does, but he's very spontaneous when he does things
I hope
too.
so.
Like,
Yeah,
I've seen some of his specials and some of his stuff on YouTube where like a heckler in the audience and he'll
oh, that's the
or
best.
or just little things like that. I remember watching one where I think it was called Bite Sized. It was like a full program he
Like a
did,
Brad Williams, yeah,
a Brad
show.
Williams thing, and then he kind of ended the show with, uh, you know, you know, when you go see your the guys you work with on Monday, you could say you saw an Oompa Loompa and he made you laugh, and
Yeah,
but
but
he brought this girl on the stage and she sat on a chair and he started to do a bit of a lap dance for her, but he wasn't taking his clothes off. He was like using her as like a jungle gym. It was kind of funny. Like he did a handstand and put his feet on like across her lap and started vibrating and then moved her
like
legs apart and he
he
is
didn't he didn't
hilarious.
he didn't do a Jimmy and actually take his clothes off.
No, that's
That's
only
that's
me
that's a cinnamon Jimmy thing.
or Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner. Anyway, I'll finish my point. Um, so I watched the show and now I'm like, oh man, like, but yeah, like what you said is like my favorite comedians are the ones that engage the audience, and like my favorite stand up of all time. His name's Vinny Favorito. He used to headline at the Flamingo in Vegas, and that's all he does. Like every show is different. Like he doesn't have a bit. You know, maybe at the beginning he goes, "Hey, I'm Vinny," blah blah blah, right? And then he's just like, "Hey, sir, what do you do?" And "Hey, what's this? Who are you?" You know, and like I've never gone to a single show of Vinny's where I've sat in the first two rows.
There's a
Target, like, and he goes after everybody, and it is fucking hilarious. It really
there's
is.
a guy. He's actually part of the that's summer comedy tour that they're doing here. That's at the old racetrack, which I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for.
yeah. I know what you're
Matt
talking about.
Matt Strife is one of those guys, and he's one of those where he jumps in and
Maybe we should go. I'd love to see. Like, I saw Dice in Vegas, Andrew Dice Clay, at the Trop a couple times before they blew it up and putting a ballpark in there. But um, and and his act has kind of evolved to that, where he's like, like 90% of the show is him asking people, "Hey, what do you do? What's your story?" And then it's just like back and forth and like just fucking hilarious. Like I love that shit. So I hope that Brad does that. That was part one of my point. Part two is I shit you not. Andrea and I watched that Brad Williams thing. I think it was like last Saturday or something. And I was looking at his clothes and I'm like, man, that guy looks sharp. And like you're basically the only midget I know. And like if there were more midgets around, I'd know more. Like it's just that you're few and far between. And I'm like, I know what you wear. I know you go like you get the shorts and it's like easy
and
but
I
this guy,
and t-shirts, but he
yeah,
gets
and
all
this
his
guy's
stuff.
this guy's like this guy looks
He
sharp. Like
he
he's wearing
gets the
shit that I'm like, oh, I
like
like those pants.
my
and
suit
I'm like,
my
that
suit
must be
is tailored,
tailors.
and it fits me just great. Like,
Yeah, but you're not
when I
gonna
actually
tailor
get it.
like jeans and shit. Like
No, and plus, he has more money than I do. Um,
anyway, it made me think of you because I'm like, yeah, fucking Brad Williams. Like he just goes and says, I want this made. Like, and I'm like, Brad Williams will wear skinny jeans. You'll never wear skinny jeans. You're,
I
you're wearing like your
no, I
cuff.
actually
Your cuff
like
is wider
I
than
do.
your fucking leg.
No, I do have a pair of skinny jeans. They just don't fit me anymore because I don't fit in the waist. But and they fit me great. Like I do have some
Maybe
tailored.
you ought to pull back on the drinking and the debauchery. But that's another
So are we gonna quit being
topic.
friends? Like, but okay, now that you finished
Sorry.
talking,
Yeah, get
now
back
that
to
you
the
finished,
Walmart. Sorry.
now that you finished talking about your week,
No, you were
and
talking about
and
the
and
Walmart.
and
I interrupted you.
yeah, well, I'm talking about my week. So now can I continue talking about my week?
I'm just
Okay, so
saying,
the
go
Walmart.
ahead.
So yes, so around this time of the year, it's usually the beginning of spring into like, and it's the pants that I wear or shorts that I wear as pants. They take off the shelves towards like almost into August. So I have to I, if I'm getting new pants, I got to get them now. So I've got like 10 different pairs. I've got jeans, I've got black pants, green, gray. Like, so I go shopping at Walmart because the difference between buying a pair of pants, and this is a midget thing, and it's um is so I go buy a pair of pants, and so I have to buy it for the waist size so it fits me in the
Yeah.
waist, and then go get it hemmed. So you're paying for the pair of pants. Say you're paying $50 for a pair of jeans, and then you have to pay another $20 to hem them.
So you still get them hemmed even after, like, because like
No, no,
all the talks we had
no.
about that,
Okay,
because you get the
okay,
shorts.
okay. Just let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
So say I buy a pair of jeans. It's $50. Go and get it hemmed. Okay, it's going to cost me another $10, $15 to hem the pants. So you're looking at like $70 for a pair of pants. Or I can go to Walmart, buy a pair of shorts for
Oh, okay.
$30 that fit me.
Yeah. Like
And
men's
I
short.
and I and men's shorts. But there's only certain ones. Like you have to look, some of the ones where it's really short legs, those don't work. There's only certain brands that really work that actually look like pants.
Then
The other way,
you have
and
enough
and I know
experience.
and I know,
Like
but I look at the inseam, um, to
you
whether or
got
not
like midgetry down to a science.
I have been one for a while.
Yeah. Wow. Like you
I
should
don't know if
do
you
like
know this or not. Like
seminars. They have to be online because, like I said, there aren't a lot of you.
not not a lot of us, not a lot of us in Alberta. In Vancouver, there's a lot of little people. In Toronto, there's a lot of little people.
Well, we already
Um,
talked about Gimli, Manitoba, and
and but a lot of
the
one
confluence
of
of
the little
midgets there.
people that are actually, and there's tons in Manitoba, but
Gimli.
anyone who's like likes to have fun, that if you want to get into acting as a midget, it's either Vancouver or Toronto, or you have to move to the States.
Yeah.
um like I have a friend of mine that lived in the Toronto area, and he was in all kinds of movies. He was actually the miniature mascot for the Toronto Blue Jays. You know how they have
Yeah, yeah. They
the big bird, and then the
yeah,
little bird.
yeah.
My buddy was the little bird, um, and yeah, and like that's, whereas I get a lot of stuff here, but it's more local. It's like bars and character stuff. But I digress. So now that I finished talking about the shorts, um, this week was a weird was a weird one. A friend of mine passed away. For those of you who live in Edmonton and have known my career in radio, um, I started in radio when I worked at the Bear. Back in 2013, I was on the afternoon drive. I started with Lachlan Cross, and he had a practicum student that was there that was doing his last bit of radio school. Um, as helping Locke on the show. His name was Warren Barris. One of the nicest kids you could ever meet. He was when he graduated radio school, he was 21, and that was back in 2013. Huge, like he's a big guy, like he, not saying anything bad about him. He loved to eat, and he was big. He was like 300
Big in
plus
stature,
pounds,
big in
uh,
personality.
big in personality. One of the nicest people on the planet. He had nothing nasty to say about anyone. If he didn't like someone, they were a total dick. Like if he honestly didn't like you, you should just move away from people.
Yeah, like he pretty much
He
liked
like
everybody and everybody liked him kind of thing, right?
yes, and he's a great guy and so funny, and we have many memories together doing all kinds of things. I was going through some old photos and the bands and stuff that we met and got pictures with, like Glorious Sons and so many different people. Uh, really cool guy. He he was actually. I'm going to teach you a little bit about radio real quick because radio's a weird industry, especially in local markets. So when Lachlan left the Bear, he moved to the morning show on Cruise FM, and he was
Yep.
working with can't think of her name, but it doesn't really matter. And he worked with her for about 6 to 8 months,
Yep.
and then they dissolved that show and brought me over to Cruise. I was working at the Bear, and they offered me a job, and as they say in the industry, I jumped ship. I
It
went
was a
from
small move.
whereas other people that I worked with at the radio station were not happy with it. They did not like the idea at all that I left, and some of them didn't even talk to me.
Oh, wow.
Warren wasn't one of those guys. He was offered to move over as well, but he wanted to stay at the Bear, and he stayed. And
And he didn't judge you even though he made
he
the
didn't
opposite
he didn't
decision.
he didn't judge me. And
He wasn't spiteful
no,
like we talk about the people that don't like free speech or whatever. Anyway, go on.
yeah, but he was that guy. And then when within a year, I was given a full time job there, like with salary, the whole 9 yards. He was the first one to reach out to me and congratulate me for having a full time job.
Like a
Like
yeah,
he
like a
like
regular gig.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was still I think he was still part time at the time, but I'm not sure. But he reached out to me, and that just shows the kind of person Warren was. If you met him, he's a funny dude. He like I we have pictures together at Halloween. He dressed up like I want to say who's that exercise guru, like the '80s with the kind of
Jane Fonda.
flamboyant
Oh, Richard
yeah,
Simmons.
Richards. So a 300-pound man dresses up like Richard Simmons, and he nailed it
And you
to
know,
the
Jimmy, if you
mall.
don't mind me interjecting, um when people um reach out, and then it's not like we're not talking about birthdays or anniversaries or whatever, but when people reach out on accomplishments like that, like out of the blue, like that you don't expect. I mean, it's accomplishment to you, but the world at large doesn't really know, but people know, and do that. Like, to me, that's like the mark of a good person. They go, I know this means a lot to you. The rest of the world doesn't know, like not like your birthday. But I like you. I'm happy for you, and I wanted to let you know. And to me,
Yeah,
that's a mark of a good person.
and he's such a good guy.
Hmm.
He passed away due to a heart attack at the age of 34.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and yeah, it's a sad day, and I've been seeing all over social media from people in the industry that have worked with him and known him. And actually, if you go to the Bears Facebook page. The morning show on Friday, so it was Yukon and Scott McCord. They did a bit of a tribute to him. Yeah, I
Good,
actually saved it onto
good.
my Facebook,
Yeah,
and it is sad. It really
yeah.
was. It's
I'm sure.
just like Yukon is not a guy with like heavy emotions, and he couldn't contain himself.
Hmm.
But I
That's.
digress.
I think that just reinforces the value of the guy. And you know what? I'm sure he's looking down and realizing that, yeah, wow, maybe I didn't know it, or maybe I did, but just being me had an impact, and that's pretty cool.
And he reached a lot of people.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
he was a big guy, but a bigger heart.
Yeah.
And here's to Warren, and he loved and
And like you always do with the tap on the table, to
yeah,
Warren,
to
to
Warren.
Warren Barris, right?
You know, it's one thing that I realized with the passing of someone like Warren. He's 34 years old, and he had so much life ahead of him, and it got me thinking. He's 34. I'm 52. I'm closing on 52. And last episode, we were kind of talking about how I need to go to the doctor. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to take care of myself. And it's situations like this that make you
Reinforce
realize
that.
that reinforce that yes, I do need to go, you know get some stuff figured out, from have it be, get my prostate check, get whatever, go to the doctor,
I can do
go
that.
and
I can do
yeah,
the prostate check.
okay. you know I have worked with two people in radio. I worked with one person in radio, Lachlan Cross, and now you. And you guys are sick bastards that you want to stick your finger up my ass. And it's
It's
kind of
it's
creepy. It's it, 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 it's
it's called care. It's called
it's called
caring.
it's called creepy. I can understand. Hey, I want to get you a doctor. No, I want to stick my finger up your ass. Yeah, that's just
I'm
that's
just
not
like, if you don't want to go, I
that's
can.
that's
There's some
that's
things I
not
can do.
that's not health conscious. That's creepy. That's a I've never stuck my finger up a midget's ass before. Let's do it. Um,
There's a list. That's a box that's not checked.
yeah,
Not for
that's
nothing.
that. Yeah, that you haven't done. But yeah, I just wanted to say that that it does wake me up into thinking that yeah,
Yeah,
you do need to take you do need to take care of yourself. A 34-year-old kid, way too soon,
yeah, yeah.
and
Like maybe he's seen a
and
guy when he's 30 and they got
but
him on statins or whatever.
the thing is if he could have taken care of himself a bit better, and everybody knows that. And I'm not, this is not shit talking him. It's just, if we do take care of ourselves, it could eliminate some of those things. But
Yeah, and actually, if you don't mind, like the one thing you said kind of resonated with me is like, you like, I need to go to the doctor. Actually no. Luckily, you don't need to go to the doctor. It's like, go to the doctor now so that you don't need to go to the doctor, right?
but I need to go so I don't need to go.
Yeah,
It's one of those.
exactly. Or
It's one of those things. So it's not.
I should go so that I don't need to go.
Yes.
Like the best part of, like, the best experience you have with a doctor is when, like, it's not when it's voluntary and there's nothing going on, because then they can, they can look under the hood and go, yeah, like, I mean, by the way, I can look under the hood too, Jimmy, but not for nothing. And
And
and go
creepy. Um,
and go, like, like, oh well, I'm noticing this is trending poorly, or this is trending well, or whatever. And like, last episode, you talked about experiences with doctors, and like, I got diabetes when I'm 11, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and all that stuff. But I remember they told me, like, we didn't learn about diabetes in school yet. And they're like, yeah, we did your blood sugars and you have diabetes and blah, blah, blah. And my first question was, am I going to die? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, that's just it, right? Like,
yeah. But okay, let's change the subject because
Yeah, it's
I'm
good
changing
idea.
I'm changing the subject into something that will we haven't had enough anger on this podcast,
Oh,
and
okay.
I think it's time to bring out the anger.
Let's
And
go
one
from depression to anger. That's
Yes,
like
yeah,
we're gonna get a lot of
that's part
listeners.
of that's part of the dark side, baby.
This is why we
You know,
circle the toilet bowl of loathing and hatred.
fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, and I can think of a couple people that need to suffer, but
Thanks,
I
Yoda.
digress. But here we go. Um, I saw this article, and we were kind of talking about it a bit yesterday.
Yep.
Barely making any money, a downtown restaurant considers closing its patio because of new city fees. So now the city, especially for the downtown restaurants, that in the summer, if you haven't been to downtown Edmonton, especially on the Jasper and around Jasper Avenue,
Yeah.
there's a lot of places in downtown where they cut off part of the sidewalk and then go to the parking
Yeah,
areas
they
and
have
stuff
like a little boardwalk around this where the side
around it,
so
so that
you're like on a normal sidewalk and then you hit this bar and then there's a little boardwalk that goes around a patio into the parking lane or whatever and then back to the sidewalk around that establishment,
yes,
right?
and
Yeah.
and there's a number of restaurants they do that because a lot of that stuff started during COVID when they weren't allowed to have like a lot of seats in the restaurant that they
Mhm.
had to have patios. So then they started doing that
Outside, yeah, yeah.
outside and stuff like that. And there's a few restaurants, especially on Jasper Ave, that need these, especially in the summer because they're really busy. It's a beautiful time.
Actually, that's not true. We'll talk about that after, but go on.
But some of these places that they need the seating because of how like there's a lot of touristy stuff in the downtown, so it gives them their stuff. But where I'm at, the city of Edmonton has raised the fees,
Like, were
and
there fees before?
yes,
Yeah,
but
like they were
what
nominal
it
or
was like. So I'm not sure what they were before, but they have gone up. So if you want, so for a seasonal on like the patio like that, it's 3,700. It's gone up to 3,700 for the season. So for the summer, and if you want for the entire year round permit, it's 6,900. And
that's the new one.
that's the new one. And the funny, I don't know what the old fees were, but the problem I have is when our lovely mayor, Andrew
Lovely.
Knackerhead,
Like,
uh, Andrew Knack,
it's like this
he was the
podcast for those who are new to this podcast, I think we can both agree that we're not fans.
of Andrew Knack. No,
Yeah,
he was
Edmonton's mayor. Yeah.
he was my city councilor in this neighborhood for as long as I've lived here, and I've never voted for him once.
Yeah.
Um, he is all about bike lanes. He's all about and that's a big thing, and they're increasing bike lanes, but they're saying that they needed to increase the fees for the patios. The only way that they can cover the fees for the patios if they're allowed to reinstate the automated traffic enforcement. So the
Hang on a minute. Like, you didn't explain that properly. Like, no offense, but again, like Andrew Knack's the mayor of Edmonton. He was
yes,
Jimmy's count. Usually, what happens? These guys become counselors, and then they
and they become
make
mayor.
friends, and then but not even with their fellow counselors because they don't vote. No, they got one vote just like the rest of us. But they make friends with unions. They make friends with larger bodies that they help while they're counselors. They get endorsed, and then these people spend money to get this guy noticed, endorsed, and voted for. That's this guy. He's an activist, politician, and we don't really like them. Now,
He's
but
all about
Jimmy,
bike lanes.
yeah,
He's
like
all about
every
this in all the things that we bitch about on this podcast. He is all
an
about it.
advocate for,
The
yeah,
the
like and
the,
like
the
anything that,
infill
yeah,
the infill stuff that we bitch about, bike lanes, and now this. And he
yeah,
goes, well, if if you want us to get rid of the fees, so one way you can do it is allow us to have automated traffic enforcement.
Yeah. So like
So the red
again,
light cameras and
this is what you're saying. Like is like okay. First of all, piggybacking on what you said about Andrew Knack, anything that like reduces vibrancy and inhibits growth and accelerates like WEF type stuff like 15-minute cities and bike lanes and all that kind of tomfuckery. That's this guy. But um, what you're saying, Jimmy, is that these and if you don't mind, I'm gonna sort of expand on what you're saying. So these downtown businesses, like anybody who's in the bar business in a town like Edmonton that is covered in snow for roughly half the year, knows that I didn't know this for a long time until I was in a band and like owners of bars told me this. They make less money in the summer than they do in the winter because in the summer, I mean, just look at me. Um, I'm on my boat, right? Like we go out on the boat. We're not sitting in the bar because the weather's nice, and I have like double the options, of things I can do in my spare time, than I do in the winter. If you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like like you and I are going to spend hours and hours and hours on my boat this summer, and it's like those are hours and hours and like during our free time. And those are hours and hours and hours that we don't spend at the pub because it's our only like one of very few alternatives, right? So the bars that have patios go like we maybe break even on that because people can actually be outside and be in our pub,
Yeah.
right?
Still eat our food, drink our booze,
Yeah.
pre-party, like whatever.
Let's
Because I
let's
know,
go. Let's get outside. We can go to Horlock Park, or we can sit at the patio at like Rocky Mountain Ice House, for example, right?
like I've done that where I go to the pint or whatever on just off Jasper
Pint's another
on
one, right?
on the patio.
Yeah,
Have a few beers before I go to a football game. Uh,
yeah,
that's
like sunlight and sitting out in the sun and like you've been on my deck. Like Andrew and I can't wait to put the furniture out so we can sit outside and have a drink and listen to yacht rock or whatever, like on the patio
or sit on
and
your deck and smoke. Yeah, I know.
whatever. And like options that aren't available to you half the year. So it's like supply and demand. Like the supply shrinks, the demand goes up. So the one way to mitigate bars that don't have a patio, like to attract people to your business, is having a patio so people can get the best of both worlds. I'm outside, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, what this has done is the the lady that's in charge, the counselor that's in charge of this or whatever, said there's been so far there's been 8 restaurants that have refused to pay the fees for the updated fees for
The
the patio.
exorbitant, like newly introduced fees.
Yes.
And sorry, you also said that the city of Edmonton, chaired by our friend Andrew Knack, who's a social activist cocksucker, and you can quote me. Uh, uh,
Oh.
like he said to the province, the only way that we're going to repeal these like unfair, unilateral charges to these bars that are barely getting by is if you what now?
I'm just trying to find it. I read it
Because the province of Alberta basically inhibited the city of Edmonton, who finances the police and all that shit, from having the photo radar shit going on because it wasn't fair, right?
yes. He says he says the exact quote, Mayor Andrew Knack says, money that previously covered these patio fees came from automatic traffic enforcement, which the city is looking to reinstate. and in which the province said that they weren't allowed to use these automated traffic enforcement for revenue.
It's
So,
like
so,
how
so
offensive is that to you as a taxpayer?
going, hey, you know,
Like, fuck me. I'm gonna hold taxpayers hostage. I'm gonna I got all I'm looking like I've got a dick that's like hard and I just want to fuck somebody. It
hey,
could be the
we,
bars or it could be the
it could be,
taxpayer
it could be someone
by
who, yeah. So they want to
like
bring back the photo. He wants the province to get rid of the photo
re,
radar policy.
no reinstate it.
Yeah, yeah, to reopen it.
Yeah. Like, we elect people that are like well, it used to be in democracies of old that you'd elect people that because you thought that they would advance your interests. And it's like
Y-
like if I live downtown, my local like shuts down their patio because they're going to get taxed. Or the alternative is they keep it open, they don't get taxed by the city, and everywhere I decide to drive, I'm going to get fucking pinched if I'm going like 5 kilometers over the speed limit.
it's
So that's not a
basic,
politician that is exercising the will of the people. Can we
but
agree on that?
basically what he just did right there is go. I'm screwing you one way or the other. Which way do you want it?
Yeah.
Is like that's
Like I
like
said, he's walking around with a
either
heart on
either
going, how do you want to get fucked?
either I'm screwing local businesses or I'm screwing everybody. Which way do you
Yeah.
want it? Like
Yeah. And by the way, that's a power play because like the provincial government like doesn't want to piss off taxpayers. So he's like, uh like um I know I'll have their support, so I'm gonna pinch and these fucking poor bar owners, um by the way, those of you listening, like places like the Canadian Brew House or like Uncle Glenn's, like a place I used to go to quite often, like have patios, but it's within
it's
the
within their
private
property
the private
themselves.
property that they have.
And
But then like
one thing that the brew house has done, especially for all the newer locations in,
yeah,
is they have a lot of rooftop patios.
hmm
Like the one in
fucking
St.
really
Albert has
nice.
rooftop, and
Yeah, like the one in Lewis Estates is really that's
yeah,
hot. I
yeah,
like
that
that.
they
Downtown,
have yeah,
downtown too.
because even the downtown, like at the banquet, they have a
Yeah,
rooftop. Um,
I like that. Like, good for them. But like we're talking about, like in the article I read too, that they were talking about how much money the city has invested to attract consumers downtown, to make downtown vibrant, right? And like with that ice district, like the dome where the old casino used to be, and like all kinds of other stuff that they spent but we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And they want downtown vibrancy, but then they inhibit like bars with like patios. Like honestly, the best example is Rocky Mountain Ice House. It's on what, like 105th, 106th, and
yeah,
that's one of those
one
ones.
of five, yeah,
Yeah, like if you want to talk about labor to maintain that, it's nothing. You spent the labor when you built the footbridge that kind of goes around this, like the sidewalk. So you're on a sidewalk, Rocky Mountain Ice House patio. You go right like 10
yeah.
feet. You go left like 50 feet, and then you go right 10 feet. That's it. There's nothing. There's no extra expense. There's no cost to maintain. Like, like
It's just it.
angry, angry,
No, it's not. It's money grabbing. That's all it
big
is.
time,
It's a tax grab.
big
Either
time.
you're giving me money this way or that way.
Yeah.
Choose your poison. Um,
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to fuck the electorate either way. You just choose how I'm going to do it, what they're saying to the provincial
yeah,
government. And the provincial government's like, we don't want to look bad to the taxpayers. We're not reinstituting like the photo radar And so,
If I
okay.
was them, I wouldn't do it.
And then also, like, it also gives Andrew Knack, the social activist cocksucker who's our mayor, it gives him like a going like, I didn't want to do this to you, but the province wouldn't let me photo radar, like like it
it's it,
just it's
it's
horrid and sickening.
you know you know again we're crapping on our mayor, but when
Like,
Andrew
give me
when
another
Andrew
hour.
when Andrew Knackerhead he was voted
Andrew Knacker. We'll call him Andrew
Knackerhead
Knacker.
Knackerhead.
Knacker's a term. He used
Okay,
to play
no, I know it
soccer.
is. You kick him in
Yeah.
the knackers. Um, so when he was elected, I got a very heartfelt phone call from a friend of mine, Lachlan Cross, who used to work with me on the radio. That
He's
used to
been
live
mentioned on this podcast.
Yes, and that used to live in Edmonton, and he goes, "Good luck, Jimmy. Andrew Knack is Andrew Knacker is uh, your mayor. The city's going for shit." Like,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's that's just
Like,
one thing. Just screwing local businesses is all that's doing. And
yeah.
how does that benefit the city of Edmonton screwing local business? It it doesn't.
I'm just gonna lay it out for you. Like, when the Edmonton Oilers wanted to develop that, we talked about it earlier in the show. That fan cave or whatever they call it. Like,
Yeah.
um, the city of Edmonton contributed like upwards of like $100 million to that, and then the whole goal under like Amberjeet Sohi, who like he's never accomplished anything but fucking perfected the way to make money as a politician for his family and his friends. But that aside, um, the city of Edmonton fucking helped them finance that shit. Okay,
Yeah.
and the whole point was downtown vibrancy, quote unquote, downtown vibrancy. And so these little mom and pop shops or these small bars that actually, they want to attract um, Edmontonians who are not used to being, or who wish they had the sun year round but only get it 6 months, to get them to come to their establishments. Like, I bet some of these places you walk in, like, on a like June 15th or July 15th, and the bar is empty but the patio is full.
Oh
And they're
yeah.
like, thank Christ we have this patio, because otherwise we'd be broke. And then they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on downtown vibrancy, and the one actual mechanism that helps maintain downtown vibrancy, they're going to pinch. Are you fucking kidding me? The logic does not compute. They
It's
they they, they would fail in the marketplace of ideas.
uh, all I know is it's just the dumbest thing, and it's the local business that's gets screwed.
I
And
feel the worst for those guys. Just grinding and like hustling every day, trying to get things going, like, fuck out of here.
now that we spent the last 10 minutes or so,
Sewering.
sewering the city government, let's go province. Let's go provincial. I want your opinion on something,
All right.
Mooney. Daylight savings, yay or nay?
I'm completely agnostic. Like, we're talking about an hour a day. And by the way, like, I
No,
should qualify that. Like when I travel, and I've traveled to Europe many times, like 8 times, 9 times. I traveled to China. Um, I'm not that guy that gets fucked up by daylight or by time zones. I'm just like, maybe it's on account of like drinking. Like,
partly, but it's
sometimes you go to bed at 3. Luckily,
but
not
it's
often,
but
but
it's easier. It's easier now to keep up with time zones when you're traveling because of our devices. Because
mhm.
back in the day, if you crossed a time zone, you had to change your watch. If you didn't change your
Oh
watch,
yeah, like
you were screwed. But
it's like
now,
not 90% of the devices in our house, like when the
like
time changes, like they change, right?
like to be honest, when we had the time change this year, I forgot about the time change. The only reason I knew it happened was my microwave was a different time than my
Yeah, like the
watch.
one
Like,
device in your house, right?
that isn't connected to the internet.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and so what the Alberta government is saying is they want to totally forget about daylight savings,
yeah,
and their reasoning behind it is BC isn't changing anymore, and neither is Saskatchewan. So
yeah.
provinces on either side of us aren't changing. So why do we need to
Like
change?
aren't changing, so that means that they do the switch every year,
No,
or
they
they
don't change.
did they did change. They
They
actually did change.
they aren't. They
Yeah,
don't
when you
follow
say
daylight.
when you say aren't
They don't
changing,
follow daylight savings, so they don't.
yeah,
So at the time changes, they don't change.
yeah, like the provinces that neighbor us maintain steady time year round is what you're
Yes,
saying. Okay.
yes.
So I don't know if like Albertans that are listening to this podcast remember, but we actually had a referendum on that. And I think like like you can correct me if I'm wrong, like look it up in Grok, Jimmy, while I'm talking. But like I think that Albertans voted to like just maintain like the same time year round. Um,
I thought that's the way it was too.
mhm. I thought there was a referendum. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
There was or there
And what
was
was the vote?
I don't
No,
think it
what was
was.
the vote? What was the
I
real
don't
total vote?
shut up. I don't think there was a referendum. There was a vote on whether or not we were going to have a referendum. It was on the provincial
Oh,
vote.
how stupid is that? We should have a vote. We should have a vote. like we're gonna do a referendum and ask the citizenry if we should have a vote over whether we should have a vote. And then a year later, we're going to do a referendum, the citizenry, and go, and we should have a vote over whether we should consider continuing
Okay,
debating the vote.
here we go. No, it was a referendum
Yeah,
in
what I thought.
2021. And okay, shut up. You want the question
You
answered?
gotta pull back with the shut ups over here. Like,
Then
not for
quit
nothing.
interrupting me. In 2021, the referendum, Albertans narrowly voted 50.2 to 49.8 against adopting year-round daylight savings times.
Okay.
So it was, so they voted against it by like
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah. Like, and to me, that's honestly, when was that? 17, 19,
Sort of 22, 21.
21. Okay. So honestly, if the citizenry voted against it, it's like, I'm sorry that Saskatchewan and BC did that, but you got to respect the citizenry, right? Like you're a politician. They told you, and I know it was a very narrow margin, but you got to respect that. Having said that, the topic has come up again, and our premier Daniel Smith said, like I've been watching this week, that they're going to talk about it like in legislature and blah blah blah. Like i.e. do what they want to do. What do you think, Jimmy?
If our neighboring provinces don't change,
They
why
have
do we?
changed.
Why do we?
No, but they
Like,
have changed, right? Like, are they like steady one time year round?
yes.
Yeah,
Like, are you not listening to what I'm saying?
I
Okay,
am.
so the provinces on either side of us do not change their time throughout the year. So why do we change our time throughout the year?
Yeah, but you know what? We put it to a referendum, and Albertans said by the narrowest of margins. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like what's past is prologue. The point is that the government of Alberta said, Daniel Smith said, we're going to talk about it in legislature and collect ideas, and which is a good thing. Like Fairfax.
I to be honest,
What do you think?
um, of all the things that the government has done, or like, so far, this is the one thing I do agree with. I do agree. Like, why? Like, why are we doing it? Like,
By
but
the way, go on.
on a different, like, there is no different note. Like, one thing I don't understand is the BC, like, because that's what I read, that the BC doesn't change, but they're still an hour behind us, but they don't do the daylight saving thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
neither
because
and
it's like
neither
the
does
globe.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's the globe. Like that will always be what it is.
But then the other provinces will be doing the change. So, and then at one point, so if in the fall, if Manitoba goes back an hour, will be the same time
Like,
as Winnipeg.
like the thing that'll fuck me up. Like, I'll be on, like, just being a guy from like Western Canada, which, by the way, like for those of you listening, is like basically an afterthought in Canada. So and the reason why I bring this up is if I'm watching like TSN or Sportsnet or something, and they say a game is happening, like a Blue Jays game, for example, they're like Blue Jays, like 7 o'clock ET, which means to me immediately like 5 o'clock my time, right? They don't post Mountain. They don't care that there's
Yeah, yeah.
millions of
It's
right.
either Eastern or Pacific.
So here's the thing. It's like, don't ask me. Like, I know, like, every like 6 months we switch time. Like, okay. But I'm not ever gonna really know the impact until you actually do it. Um, if you know what I mean. And daylight savings doesn't impact me when we do it. So if we keep it going year round, I'm not gonna know until we do it. But I will
But
say the beauty of one of the beautiful things of Alberta is like, and you've been there with me, like we're on my deck or we're at one of these now sanctioned patios downtown, when the sun sets at like fucking 10:30 or whatever, like at the height of summer, and you're like, a fella that's had to struggle through, or not struggle, but like endure, um, like a 5 month winter, and below zero temperatures, and you go, wow, how great is this? And I'm not sure that it's going to make much of a difference if we just keep the same time, as long as you allow us to maintain that daylight savings motherfuckery, right? Like, that's awesome.
yeah, it's kind of weird, because the thing is you won't know what it is until it happens, because
Yeah,
it's always been this way.
right. Like, even having a
Like,
referendum on it is kind of
my
stupid.
the thing is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Like, we've been doing this forever. Like, I could take it or leave it, but
Hey, Jimmy, your audio is
it
not
is what it
matching your
is.
video.
Yeah, yours isn't either. Um,
Really, really. Maybe it'll come out in the wash.
mine
Who
is
cares?
mine is coming back.
Oh yeah, like I can see you now.
Yeah, it's. I think we jumped into starting again too quick, but
Oh, okay, whatever. Anyway,
neither here nor there.
yeah, like
Uh,
all I want, like all I want at the end of the day is like, if I had to choose one, I would choose daylight savings because, like, say what you want about Edmonton, but it's pretty awesome. Be on the lake at like 10 p.m. and getting back to the slip and the sun's still shining. Albeit briefly, but I'll take that any day of the week. And it's like, it's almost like so beautiful that you're willing to endure 5 6 months of snow, cold, winter, blah blah blah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's-
It's like I. Some people are worked up about it on either end. I couldn't. I don't care. Like it's just
By the
it's
way, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You said some people, like friend of the podcast, Mike Bayrack, is a hardcore advocate for uh daylight, like one time zone, right? Like you'd have to. I would definitely not want him on the podcast to talk about this because it'd be boring. But
okay.
he knows his shit.
What do you mean one time zone?
Like like not changing. Or sorry,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you know what I
No,
mean. Like yeah,
time zones is different than daylight
yeah,
saving.
no, 100%. But you know what I'm saying. And
Because one time zone would make absolutely no fucking
yeah,
sense.
no, obviously, like on account of like the Earth is round. Anyway, um, sent me a text going. He's got to renew his passport, and now he needs a reference.
And you
He
go
reached out to Mooney.
and you went. Who are you?
So
You
he
went.
actually
You
he
went.
texted me way earlier, but I was like,
You went. Bayrack
Jimmy
who?
Jimmy said no, and I said yes.
I would say no.
No, I had to renew my passport like a year ago, and yeah,
I still I still have 2 years on mine. I think mine's 2028.
yep. I'm looking at you right now, and like your image, and your okay.
But
No, yeah. It doesn't take that long, actually.
I was actually looking down.
Okay.
No,
Anyway, like, so
it's a
should
lot
I?
easier than it used to be.
Yeah. So should I
Should you
endorse?
help? Should you help a guy out?
Should I endorse him
No,
or? Yeah,
it's. Do you want him to leave the country?
like represent us.
Do you want Bayrak
Do I want Bayrak
represent us in other
Yeah.
countries?
That reminds me of like when he first met Benny, and he was wearing sandals and socks, and Benny's like Benny knows him because I tell him the stories, and then Bayrak goes to the bathroom, and like there's a lot of runway between the bathroom back to the bar. And so Benny didn't really see his shoes. He just knew that was Bayrak, so he hugged him. And then, like, like 2 minutes later, Bayrak's in the bathroom. He's coming back, and Benny can see him walking with the socks and the sandals. And Benny goes, "Do you want to tell him, or should I?"
That's it. Sandals and socks make you a loser. Um,
It's up. It's
ish, ish,
up to the observer.
up
Yep.
to the observer.
Yep.
But you know what? We have been doing this podcast for a little bit this week. What I want to do is I want to end with something a little bit different because
Okay. Before you do, Jimmy, if you don't mind, a lot of guys go like friends that listen and like people that have been kind of engaged with our what we're doing, like miraculously. Like I'm only doing this because I love talking to you and like you're like one of my best friends, and like I just like having appointments so that we stay in touch. Like when you were on the radio, like we caught up with each other like once every 6 months, and I hate that like you lost the best job you ever had, but by the same token, there's a and if I had a choice, uh, you would never have lost that job, and we would hook up every 6 months and talk, and you would be happy and whatever. But that didn't happen, and
and I'm stuck with you. I know.
we fell into this, and selfishly, I'm kind of happy about that. But we have like an anniversary coming up, so what do you want to do about that? Because like episode 52 would be like a year, and we've only missed 1 week.
We are. Yeah, we've only, and it was Christmas week.
Yeah, like understandably.
Yeah, so
Any ideas? Like just like out of the blue, like
I say we uh, have a celebration of the 1 year still alive at our favorite watering hole.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh, that was
Fucking.
loud, was it? you, you heard,
Yeah,
you heard that?
you just sneak that one by, eh? And then it's like
And it just echoed.
you're like,
Oh,
"Fuck you, ass cheeks."
you you heard that in the mic, did you?
Oh, big
Um,
time.
so that's one thing that Locke always used to say about me is whenever I fart on the radio, I was the only one of the three of us that would ever fart, and it would come through on the mics. And Locke's comment was, "Yeah, but your face is so close to your ass." Um,
Wow. I'm just like thinking, like maybe I know enough musicians. We have like a few weeks to figure it out, but I'm thinking like maybe like do like Sherbrooke for sure, but like getting a band together and doing the song. How awesome would that be, eh?
uh,
Get my
yeah, you're
sister
not.
to sing. Get my
Yeah,
sister to
not
sing.
you, not
No,
you,
no, no,
not
definitely not
you.
me.
You're not singing. I like,
I'll be playing
like,
drums and doing low.
I,
Circling the toilet bowl up. It won't be me singing that part.
yes, because the anniversary, the first time we recorded this podcast was in, I believe it was either June 29th or 30th.
Yeah.
It was just before Canada
So do
Day.
we celebrate the anniversary or do we celebrate episode 52?
We
We'll
can do
talk about it
52.
offline.
We'll
Whatever. Yeah.
actually, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, comment in our podcast.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think. Should we celebrate our 52nd um, Bald and Short of It podcast, or should we do it on 1 year to the day that
Or should
we?
we like live stream like my prostate exam on Jimmy? Like it's
No,
like
don't give that as an option because people will want to see that. There's a lot of sick people out there, and a lot of them listen to this podcast. Um,
All right,
but
I'm done. You wanted
Okay,
to shut her
so
down.
so so I want to shut her down, but before I do, I'm going to do it a little bit different this time, is because we do have, throughout the podcast, we have talked about upcoming events that we have as a show.
Oh, Dave
Uh,
Nee. Yeah.
like we
Sorry.
have our friend Dave Nee. She, what
Our
will be
musical correspondent.
our musical correspondent, will be hopefully joining us on said podcast coming soon. She is, trying to get into some radio gigs, and good luck with her on that.
Actually, like if you don't mind me interjecting, Jimmy, but like
That's what you do, Mooney,
kind of. Sorry guys.
all the time.
Yeah, like we spent a lot of time talking about Warren and the impact that he had on the people that he met. And it has nothing to do with what a man does. It's has everything to do with who a man impacts. But he was in the radio industry. My niece, she's the dedicated musical correspondent for the Bald and Short of It podcast, and Jimmy and I both love her. She considers Jimmy an uncle too, and yeah, like she might be working for other entities this summer, and we're cheering for her.
Yes, very much so. And the thing is when the opportunities are out there to be involved in radio in whatever forms. When I started in radio, I was doing
Right? Yeah.
street team work, which is live on locations where all you did is you sat at a booth all day handing out stickers, talking to people, or handing out swag. Um, and that does get you in front of people, and that's how I built my career, was getting in front of people
Proving your worth.
and get out there is a big deal.
Yeah.
And
We're proud of her, eh?
a
Like
hundred
two
a hundred
uncles.
percent we are.
So proud of that kid.
Like two crazy uncles.
Yeah.
Um, that is us. But
It's like hopefully no one takes a picture when I'm doing the I
But
love you, man. I love you
but
so much, Jimmy.
but I'm going to end this podcast with a couple of things. So as we talked about throughout, we have some events that members of this podcast are part of. One of which is May 3rd, which is actually coming up. Is the Walk So Kids Can Talk, and that's for Kids Help Phone, and that is at a park, a Gold Bar Park, 50th Street and 105 Avenue.
That's awesome. Like, I hope that you really enjoy that, and like take video.
Yes, I'm going to do video. So that's the
Yeah.
Walk So Kids Can Talk. McHappy Day is May 6th for Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah.
We're not really part of it, but we're really pushing it because
Yeah, we talked
Ronald
about that last
McDonald
week.
House is
Yeah, that's big,
yes,
a
is
big
a
thing for
huge
you.
organization.
Growing up, yeah.
and and then finally in August, no, and sort of like August, but July, there is that Energetic County Fair in Fort St. John, BC, in which yours truly is the MC, and I'm going to be a huge part of the production from MCing to
Tip to clip.
being around in the crowd. Huh?
You're there from tip to clip, like from the beginning to the end.
Yes. I'm the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And as you die, so shall I rise. But yes, so that is in July, which I'm really looking forward to. Mini Kiss is going to be there. Blue Rodeo.
I'm more excited about
Roadhammers.
Mini Kiss than Blue Rodeo. And if I go, like, I'm not staying for 4 days, but I will go for Mini Kiss.
That's the early bird. That's the first day.
I know, it's on Thursday.
Yes.
We already talked about it.
And I'm so excited about all of it. And I'm going to get to interview some of the bands, hopefully. So yeah, it's going to be huge. And that is from July 16th to the 18th in Fort St. John, BC.
Yeah.
And yes, and it's all because of this podcast. Because we got involved in these. We got involved in these things for one reason and one reason alone. Because the talent on this program is fantastic. Chris Mooney, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't exist today. And for
Fuck
you,
out of here.
For
like,
you, I raise my hat.
Yeah, but, don't even.
That's called sarcasm. I really did,
yeah,
but I don't believe that. But
actually, you were borderline serious. You got to work on your sarcasm,
dude. I was bored sarcastically. Yes, and this was the Bald and Short of It podcast. I am James
Love you,
P.
kid.
White. That is Chris Mooney, and we will see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Circling the toilet bowl